What's up, guys? My name is Johnny Bandon with Trevor Technologies, and today we're going to be going over GNS3, the network emulation software that I use for all my videos. So click that Confluence link below, created by Trevor Technologies, and follow along, and let's get started. Alright guys, so the first thing I'm going to do is bring up our Confluence page, and X off of Facebook, of course. So this how-to goes over the GNS3 install, okay? And what I mean by Ubuntu local server here is that GNS3 has a couple different implementations on how to utilize your computer's resources to emulate network devices. So actually, let's just give you guys some tools, right? So if you look up GNS3, you go to their website, this is where you're going to get your download. You're going to want to sign in. If I can remember my password, I believe it's this. Okay. Accept those cookies. So GNS3 honestly has great documentation. I created the how-to so that if you guys like how I put things, you can look over it. But you can find everything you need here. All right, guys? They have appliances in their marketplace. Stuff you can actually add in to your environment, like Docker, some training, even look at that, a podcast. There's a lot going on here, guys. You can even have a Windows appliance, which I'm actually going to probably get that and use that in future videos. Ubuntu desktop guest. So a lot of great stuff here, guys. We're going to follow my how-to, but if this doesn't answer anything for you, please look at GNS3's website. So look at my home here. I put a little description. So the great thing about GNS3 compared to other software you may have used before, like Cisco Packet Tracer, is that it actually emulates real routers and real switches. So what does that mean? That means when I actually put a Cisco router in my GNS3 environment, it's based off the actual .bin file that'll run on a real router switch as flash. Make sense? Okay. So let's look here, guys. So there's another program called EVE-NG that's become really popular nowadays. Honestly, I haven't made the switch or done much research into it. It's becoming the standard, so eventually I'll have to, but I know GNS3 so well and it works for me that I'm going to keep using it for a couple more months. I run Ubuntu, guys, so this how-to is going to be installing GNS3 on Ubuntu. And like I said here, if you're not using a Linux machine, you are falling behind the power curve as a network administrator, okay? Ubuntu, Linux, Debian-based, RPM-based, all of them are very powerful operating systems for network engineers, okay, guys? So I already have GNS3 installed on my computer. So what I'm going to do actually is I'm going to use this VM right here, okay? And I think I actually already installed GNS3 on this. So what we'll do is actually run a new virtual machine. Actually, guys, no. Let's just do it on this netbox VM I have here. Hopefully this doesn't ruin my netbox. Let's open up this VM. Okay, so as you can see right now, I'm running an Ubuntu virtual machine using KVM, okay? Kumu KVM. So KVM is actually an appliance that Ubuntu runs natively to actually run virtual machines, right? So I actually have what we call a type 2 hypervisor here. I have my desktop that uses an application to run virtual machines. Type 1 hypervisor would be something like ESXi. Eventually I'll do a series on that too. So I'm going to drag this over to the side, guys. I'm going to expand this. I'm going to follow my how-to. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to open up a terminal. So how I did that was Control-Alt-T, guys. And I'm going to add that repository. So sudo superuser do, in case you don't know any Linux syntax. And then we use the apt packages in Ubuntu or Debian-based systems, guys. And this PPA, I don't know exactly what it is, but I'm pretty sure it stands for pre-packaged something, right? It'll just add all these packages to the actual computer, and then you actually install those packages. Because the command was sudo add apt repository, and then we pretty much gave it a path. So if you look at it again, right, sudo add apt repository, whatever this path is here. And then it went out to the internet and actually found it. So then let's update our system. Everyone should know this, right? Sudo apt update. Too easy. And now we're actually going to install GNS3. So you can either use sudo apt or sudo apt-get install. I'm going to hit yes or Y here for yes. And now GNS3 is going to go through some install stuff, guys. I'm going to hit yes. Yes, why not? And now we're just installing some extra stuff with GNS3, okay? So if you're not familiar with Linux, if you're used to Windows or, Windows machine, you're not used to running things from the command line here. So the great thing about Ubuntu and Linux is that a service or an application, it doesn't start until you tell it to. So with Windows, when you start the computer, you have all these default services running in the background that you don't know about. The great thing about Ubuntu is none of that starts unless you tell it to. So right now we're telling it to download GNS3. And we could have gone to GNS3's website here. And we could have followed their download steps, which I don't know if they bring you to the command line. But they do have a Linux package, right, that you can download. It actually just tells us to do the same thing. So too easy. So now that we've installed GNS3, what we're going to do here, type in GNS3, and that's going to launch it. So I'm going to run GNS3 on my local server. So like I said in the beginning, there's kind of different ways you can implement resources. So you can download a GNS3 VM, right? And that's more for Windows and Mac-based systems. Why? Because GNS3 uses something called QEMU, Q-E-M-U, right, to run instances of routers and switches. Well, that is actually native on Linux. So it's actually better for resource handling to just run it on your local computer when you're running Linux. It's recommended that when you're on a Windows or Mac machine, you download Hypervisor or VMware, the free version, and actually install the GNS3 VM. But we're going to run it on our local computer. All this stuff is good. Just the defaults. All right, connection successful. And this is it, guys. That's the entire setup of GNS3. So again, guys, I want to thank you guys for viewing. And the next video is going to be actually installing or setting up a router. Okay, guys? So again, I'm going to grab an actual Cisco router image, and then I'm going to install it into my GNS3 environment. Then I'll have that router to use to network with and to lab with, okay? So again, thank you for viewing. And from everyone here at Trepid Technologies, keep on learning every single day. Thank you.